Alright, what's going on, guys? So, how can you be more productive? The way to be more productive is starting to study your hours in your day, breaking it down, seeing what you do, where you're wasting time at, what you're putting your time into, and just really breaking that down. Buy yourself a planner, buy yourself a habit tracker, because the only way to getting towards your goal is making sure that you are following the steps that you need to take today. Because a lot of times we focus on the big goal and we can't get there because we're not doing what we have to do today. You're focusing at the end of the stairs when you need to be focused on the next step. Because if you take the next step and then the next step and the next step, eventually you'll get to the top of the stairs. But you can't get to the top of the stairs focusing all the way at the top when you're at the bottom. So it starts with getting a habit tracker. This is a good way to make sure that you have everything in order. You put down the habits that you need to make sure you're on top of every single day. And you make sure before you go to sleep, because habit trackers have little dots, you make sure you write that little dot. And if you had a month where you weren't consistent enough, go over it, review it, hold yourself accountable. Look back at it and say, was I being productive? And then take your time and look at the fact that you have 24 hours in a day, right? So a lot of people say, I don't have time, whether that is for they want to start a business, they want to start a YouTube channel, they want to read a book, they want to lose weight. But the excuse is always, I don't have time. That's an excuse, but it's not the reason. You see, your excuse is invalid. No one gives a fuck about your excuse. But the reason is you chose not to make time. Because you're not the busiest man in the world. Cut the bullshit. We all have 24 hours in a day. There's people out there who achieve the goals that you want to achieve, but you're just being lazy. So what you want to do is you want to take a piece of paper, write down 24 hours in the day, right? 24 hours. And then you start breaking it down with the things that you do. So let's say you sleep 8 hours. Write down 8 hours. Subtract that. Now you're left with what? 16 hours. Let's say you work a 9 to 5, right? So you put in, let's say you work 7 to 8 hours. Let's say 8 hours at the most. Subtract that. Now you have 8 hours. 8 hours of your free time. You understand, a lot of people will go to sleep, will go to work, go to the gym, and then they'll say, I don't have enough time. 8 hours extra. What are you doing with those 8 hours? Because this is a pretty generalized way to put it, because a lot of people, let's say you go to school, right? So you got work, you got school, and you got sleep. So let's say you go to school for 1 hour. Now you got 7 hours. You got schoolwork, 2 hours. Now you got 5 hours left. 5 hours of straight up deep work, like non-stop, not being distracted, whatever it is. 5 hours. You can do a lot with that time, especially if you spread it out throughout the week. You see, it's all about consistency, because if you put in 5 hours today, 5 hours tomorrow, make sure you're disciplined every single day. After 1 week, that is 35 hours. 35 hours of productive work. So understand how to manage your time better. That's how you become more productive. You study how to manage your time better. Learn to multitask. If you're driving somewhere and let's say your goal is to read a book that day, right? But you got to drive somewhere. Instead of reading a book for 30 minutes to an hour, sitting down and then driving 30 minutes to an hour, you just wasted 2 hours. Instead, you could put them together, listen to an audiobook, drive at the same time, and now you just completed 2 of the things that you needed to do. Meanwhile, still hitting your goals And now you have an extra hour to do what? Whatever you want with it. It's best if you use it in a productive way, because if you just waste it and do nothing, you got to understand, man, we are on a time clock, and every second that it goes by is a second of your life. A second of your life that's gone forever, and you can never get it back. Time is not just something that, oh, it's okay, I have a lot of time, I'm young. No. Look it up. Look up the average expectancy, the average expected age of every human being. Look it up. And then take that number, however many years is that, and look up a timer for that many years. And that's about how many years you have for the rest of your life. And every second that goes by, every minute that goes by, you're getting closer and closer to the end of that time. You see, if you put an hourglass and you flipped it upside down, would you say, hey, I have a lot of time? You understand that even if it's one little grain of sand going through that hourglass, over time, it's going to run out. So let's say you looked at your life as an hourglass. Every single second, every single minute that goes by, you're getting closer and closer to the end. So what are you doing that's productive with your time? Are you just sitting around being on TikTok all day? Are you wasting your time? What are you doing with your time? Make sure you study your time, study what you're doing with your time, break it down, understand, start assigning yourself tasks to do throughout the day. Because if you're in a rut, you are simply just not doing the things that you need to do. And you've fallen so far behind that now it feels impossible. But you need to start today. That's how you become more productive. All right, guys. Drop a like, comment down below what you think, and subscribe.